should you discuss money with your friends? We had this conversation with
It's a great
Jordan with
conversation.
uh last week's episode of assets over liabilities, and got a lot of traction on social media. People, have different commentary on it. She has her views on it. So should you discuss money with your friends?
I think you should know which friends you can have those conversations with. I don't think you can have them with all, because sometimes resentment creeps in, entitlement may creep in, and a lot of times, if we're doing it for quote unquote motivational purposes only, if a person doesn't have it and you're not going to give it to them, it can produce some feelings that they didn't even know that they had. I remember one time, this maybe 2 years ago. So historically, like I have a everyday car, and then I have something else that I drive. Um, and one time we went to dinner, and I didn't bring the everyday car. It was my everyday car was like a Mazda. So everybody was cool when I pick up in the house, like, "Oh, you so humble, down to earth, cool. I can't believe you still driving this." Da, da, da. Right? I bring out the other car, and this is one of my guys, and I get out, and he look at me like, "Yo, I didn't know you had this." But when it's a yo, I know you had this, and you weren't happy. I was like, I fucked up. Like I should have just take the everyday car out and strip it down. And in those moments, and I know he loves me, but I could see it in his face. The feeling that he had for me was not one of joy. And I wouldn't say this is one of my best friends, but like this is somebody I'm like really cool with. And I've learned like, and we've had these conversations. There's only certain people you can have some of these higher income conversations with, because not everyone's going to be happy for you. A good lesson for me is if a person that makes more money than me, or we're in the same income bracket within 2 or 3%, I'll have it. If there's a gap or disparity, I won't have the conversation at all. It's too much of a risk. I don't believe in holding back on information or not sharing, because I saw that a lot in the comments as well. But to say I made this on this particular deal, or I think it's a recipe for disaster.
Feel you. I think we're in a unique position, because we're friends, we're brothers, but
Mhm.
we're in business together. So I feel like, we have to talk about money.
We have to.
It's not.
Unfortunately, things are going well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even on the personal side, I'll have conversations, and I just had one with MG today. It was like I was explaining him from a tax standpoint. Like we have to talk about money. I'm like, look, this is what I paid in taxes last year.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. Well, this is some of the things I did last year, but I want to figure out, what's the best way in real estate that I could, help alleviate some of these taxes. So, like you said, it's about knowing who you're having a conversation
Mhm.
with. I'm not openly saying like, hey, I did this, I made this, but of course, like
Don't
me,
do it. Yeah.
I usually the first thing I do is like wake up, thank the Lord, open a bank account. Let's see what's
Let's
in
see where
there.
we at.
Let's see where we
You
at.
got to check the money, because even the banks will take the money from you if you don't check on it.
Who's missing? Where is the net now?
Hmm.
Those are the things I'm looking at. And so like once I see something that's off or something that is delayed, I'll hit first thing I'm like checking with Danielle, like what's going on. Then
Yeah.
I'll hit Ab. And then the last thing I'll do is like, yo, hit Shotty, like, yo, here's the update, here's what's going on. So
Yeah.
we always talk about money.
Yeah.
Because it's necessary. And then obviously I hit Mike because I know he wakes up a little bit later and he's like in the gym in the morning.
Yeah.
So I'll wait to hit him about some things. But yeah, it as friends, we do it because we're in business together. So it's a very unique situation, but it's
Mhm.
important.
Yeah. Shawty, what you think? Hold it close to the chest. What we doing? Even unless you name Troy Small.
Well, I grew up with these guys, so
Yeah.
everything is different.
I mean, I think it's just common sense. Like, you don't talk about money with every single person for no
Yeah.
reason. But in this scenario of, trying to work, like the scenario I gave was trying to figure out a deal. Like, what I mean, if podcasters
Mhm.
Yeah. That's
and,
different. Yeah.
provide information with each other in that way that, you'll be better suited to know, like, okay, this person got this much, then I know that I could, reasonably ask for this much. Like, that's something that's reasonable. Or how much you get for an ad on your show. Like, if you never share that information, then that's not really that beneficial. So I think that that's something you don't necessarily have to be like best of friends. You can
Yeah.
have like a cordial working relationship to understand, like, Dave Shands, how much are you charging an ad for your show?
Yeah.
I don't think it would be unreasonable for him to tell me. he doesn't have to tell me like how much money he has in his bank account, but there's different money conversations.
Yeah.
So I think that it's beneficial to have conversations about money when it makes sense, as far as like, if you got a person that you're doing business with, or somebody that's in your same peer group or same industry.
Hmm.
Industry conversation is very important. I think that's more like
Absolutely.
outside of, like, yeah, it's just common sense. Most of the time, you're not just going to tell somebody like, this is how much money I have in my bank account. This is how much money I made last year randomly. But what problems is, like, even in corporate, it happens a lot in corporate, where people don't know how much somebody else is getting paid. And that affects your negotiating skills. That affects your
Mhm.
ability to actually ask for a raise. That is, you don't know how to gauge if you're getting underpaid or not, right? So sharing
Yeah.
information and actually knowing what the numbers are beneficial for sure.
Yeah.
And that's something that, I think you got to kind of be a little bit more comfortable doing that,
Yeah.
because that's something that is helpful. It's not like you're just sharing that information just to make people
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
nosy and jealous about what you got. So delicate situation, but like I said, I think you got to use your common sense. See, obviously, some people, it's just there's no benefit in sharing it. Like, if there's no benefit in sharing the information, then what's the point in sharing it? But
Yeah.
if there's a benefit for you or for somebody else, and you can see like that's actually beneficial, then I think that it's a different conversation.
Yeah.
Before we leave,
They're
Oh,
gonna tell you how much they got in their bank account.
000 owed up.
For real.